Why does falling feel so terrifying? And do you know how to hack your brain for better results? Do you even know what happens to your brain when you fall off and why it's actually holding its automatic responses actually hold you back? I mean, because falling does not just bruise your body, it rewires your mind, and we must learn how to fight back. Fear is totally natural, but overcoming it, that's where champions are made. So hey everybody, welcome back to #Team Fuego. So I was actually writing a story for USCA where I was outlining my horse and my success. And there was an interesting aspect that I obviously know I lived the story, but it was the fact that I fell off of my horse 6 weeks later, went to another competition and actually won. And it was just kind of an interesting aspect when I was writing out the story where I was saying like, that's kind of, interesting as those results are very starkly different. Because frankly, I did not become a more or less talented rider 6 weeks later. Yes, of course you learn from all your experiences, but ultimately, it wasn't like I was a winner or a loser and then I became a winner. It was, what did I do mentally to be able to come back and then, more importantly, be able to triumph?
I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot today.
Because even if I didn't win and still complete, because I fell off on cross country. So even if I still came back and just finished my cross country course and we all finished, upright, that in and of itself is a huge achievement. And to be honest with you, this fall in particular, I went absolutely face first into the dirt. I'm going to actually show you a video of a different fall of mine. I did not ask them for the video footage of this fall in particular. We didn't make it around course long enough for me to justify buying a video, but I do have other video footage of me falling. It is kind of a thing when you ride horses that you fall off. But the point being that I actually, for this fall in particular, I went straight face first into the dirt. Not only did I eat dirt, but I got a black eye and a fat lip. So this fall in particular, not only did I fall, but I got to walk around with the reminder of that fall for 6 weeks. Actually, more probably like 3 weeks, but it doesn't matter. The point being that it was one of those falls that I couldn't hide from because every time I looked in the mirror, I got a slap of a reminder of what had just happened.
I'm in a glass case of emotion!
It got me thinking, how did I actually overcome that? How did I rewire my brain mentally so that the next time I went out on cross country, I wasn't thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to get another black eye? Because honestly, that's what your brain is literally automatically wired to do. It's wired to keep you safe. And in the sense of, dangerous situations, that's 100% on your side. But when it comes to sports, it's actually very counterintuitive that really doesn't help you at all be successful in sports. So what we need to do as athletes is we need to expand our response inhibition capacity, which is, simply put, the ability to override your brain's impulses. Like, for instance, the fight or flight automatic response that your brain gives you when you're in dangerous situations. Within the book Endure, Alex Hutchinson dives into why successful athletes are able to suppress the urge to react impulsively to their feelings of, say, discomfort and fatigue. And they actually train their brains to tolerate those distress signals, that fight or flight instinct that your brain naturally has, and how they continue to push forward. Because you cannot become a high-level athlete without that ability, because your brain's going to keep telling you it wants to stop. So the ability to override the fight or flight response is not about ignoring or denying your body's signals, but about consciously choosing a different course of action by becoming aware when you feel those feelings. So by increasing our capacity of our response inhibition, then it plays a crucial role in our mental ability to come back and confront those scary and frankly fearful situations. So in this video, I'm actually going to give you a really simple test where you can test your own brain's response inhibition capacity as is to get a good feel of where you're at and what you maybe need to improve on. Hey guys, so this is future Alyssa who is editing these videos right now. I did realize as I was going through them that there are a lot of tests and a lot of exercises and activities as I was creating these 5 videos. And so I actually created a website so that if you guys log in, I can give you a lot of free downloads and free workbook resources so that you can not only do the activities, but follow along and actually use these for success in the future. So back to your regularly scheduled programming. Before we get there, I do want to show you where I learned about this. And that was from a book by Alex Hutchinson called Endure. And I have linked the audiobook below, but I'm making this video so that you don't actually have to read it yourself if you don't want to. But I highly recommend the audiobook. And to be honest, I listen to a lot of audiobooks while I ride. Anybody at the barn can tell you I always have headphones in. By the way, guys, I'm mostly listening to music and audiobooks. But you can listen to this while you're hacking, while you're cleaning tack or making grain bags, and you could learn not only about the capacity of our brains as humans, but also our limitations, because the more that you're aware of how your brain works, the better you're going to be able to confront these types of fearful situations, because fight or flight is a primal response designed to protect us. But in sports, it often would lead to fear, hesitation, or even overthinking. And I can tell you, and every trainer listening to this video, if you are, every trainer is going to tell you overthinking is the worst thing you can do when it comes to jumping. So awareness becomes the first step to taking back that control, and understanding your mind truly gives you power over that fear that inevitably shows up, because guess what? Nobody wants to fall off a horse. However, that is what we have to do when we're learning how to ride one. So I actually made a 5 video series called From Falling to Flying, where I want to give you tools and resources to overcome your own mental blocks and mental fear, especially when it comes to jumping. But because don't be fooled here, we all play this game, from the number 1 ranked rider in the world down to the 1,000th. The difference though is that the number 1 and top riders have better tools that they have worked on so that they have a capacity for their response inhibitions. Because frankly, there is no magic tool for becoming better at this. You simply have to practice. All right, so there is no magic pill to become better at this, but I can give you a simple Stroop test right now so you can test yourself and become aware of your current capacity. Now, it's a very easy test, very simple. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna see words that name colors, and they'll be written in different ink colors. So your job is to say the color of the ink and not the word itself. But before we actually do this exercise, I do want to emphasize that if you completely fail this test, or even if you're great at it, it doesn't matter. This is just simply where you're starting from. So you're going to see 3 different slides, and you're going to have 5 seconds on each slide, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so obviously that is not any sort of comprehensive test by any means, but what it does tell us about ourselves is if we are actually able currently to override your brain's automatic response. Because the reality of that test is I told you to name the color and not the word, and your brain wants to read the word. It doesn't want to say the color. It wants to read the word. And so whether or not you have control, whether or not you're able to take that moment, pause, and initiate control over the actual exercise, the task at hand, is your response inhibition capacity currently. So I'm dying to know, tell me in the comments below how you did, win or lose. It's just a starting point, because this task becomes infinitely harder once we swap out those words with cross-country jumps and then we swap out those colors with failing falls and other bad cross-country experiences. The act of falling is automatically going to trigger your fight or flight response. It's just automatic. So one of the reasons I wanted to make this video series is because some of these techniques I have actually been practicing since back in my days of gymnastics. And so they're actually just second nature to me. But this is something that if you're an athlete, if you aspire to be the highest level rider that you can, or if you are even a lower level rider and you have any sort of mental fears or mental blocks with jumping, then this is something that everyone needs to work on regardless of where they're at in terms of their level. And as much as riding is a physical activity, it is absolutely a mental activity as well.
Don't you ever forget it.
And honestly, luckily when I was a gymnast, I got to fall into a foam pit. When you fall off of a horse, you are literally falling into natural Earth's elements. My last fall, I literally ate dirt. But here's why it's so challenging to fall off during a competition on the cross-country course. And that's because you do not get to get back up immediately and override what just happened with some sort of success. You know, you are out of the competition, you literally have to go home. And so what happens is it festers like a wound that hasn't been cleaned yet. And so in the next video, I want to talk about how to reset your mind after a fall, because our brain is simply a computer and you can download whatever program you want. So I want to show you how to re-download a different program that's gearing you up for success your next time around. But before you click away, pause and make sure you leave in the comments how you did on the Stroop task. And then once you've left that comment, then click on the next video in this series. It'll probably be it might be it'll be around here somewhere. I'll see you there.